Welcome to the Snakebite, your home for all things Florida Southern College athletics, where we bring you inside access into the world of moccasin athletics. Here are your hosts, George Connolly and Kenzie Council.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Snakebite. I'm Kenzie Council.
And I'm George Connolly, and let's see what the Mocs have been up to. In men's basketball news, the Mocs defeated Nova Southeastern University on Saturday in a battle of top 10 teams. The game was broadcast on ESPN3 as part of their D2 basketball showcase. Tied at 53 at halftime, the Mocs pulled away in the second half to win by a final of 102-96. Jalen Hinton was named Sunshine State Conference Defensive Player of the Week for the second straight week and fourth time this season after totaling 11 blocks in the past 2 wins for the Mocs.
The women also were victorious in their matchup against the Sharks as they improved to 13-4 in conference play. 4 Mocs scored in double digits in the victory, which was the 199th career win for head coach Betsy Harris. The teams are back in action tonight at home for their senior night game with a little extra incentive as the women will try to help Coach Harris reach the 200th win plateau in front of the home fans. Julia Janicki earned her second SSC Player of the Week honor this season after scoring 39 points in the Mocs pair of wins.
The softball team fell to 5-5 on the season after dropping both ends of their doubleheader against number 9 Florida Tech on Saturday. The Mocs were trailing for most of the doubleheader but kept the 2 games close, losing by a final of 2-1. The team returns to the Chris Bellato Field to take on Western Ontario on February 21st.
Baseball jumped up to the number 1 spot in the South region following their sweep of Lincoln Memorial over the weekend. The team have hit home runs in 9 of their first 10 games and led the conference with 21 home runs. The Mocs will take their 8-2 record to the University of Tampa this weekend as they open their conference schedule against the defending national champions. George, this baseball team has been very impressive. What are the expectations for the Tampa game?
There's very high expectations. This whole series is going against 2 excellent teams. Obviously, as you mentioned, Tampa is the defending national champions. Huge accomplishment for that program. But also, the men's team is number 1 in the South region right now. So with a high-powered offense going against a good team like Tampa, this should be a pretty good indication of where this season is going to lie for both teams. So it's a very telling series, high expectations.
Betsy Harris goes for her 200th career win here tonight. How great would that be for the senior night game and for the class of 2020?
It'd be great. Obviously, it's a huge milestone for Betsy. The things that she's done for this program have been great. She's helped a lot of players have helped her. So to do it on senior night in front of those players who have done so much for that program would be a huge accomplishment for the program as a whole.
The men's basketball team continues to dominate with the help of Jalen Hinton. So what has he meant to the Mocs this year?
He's meant a ton. Defensively, he's leading the nation in blocks. He has 6.4 blocks a game, 160 total. Those are incredible defensive numbers. Obviously, he's won SSC Defensive Player of the Week on 4 different occasions this season. So he's been great. The way that blocks and those defensive stops can boost the team's morale and the morale of the fans is huge. So Hinton has brought that time and time again, and he's been huge for this Mocs team.
Well said, George. Now let's take a look at how swim did in the SSC Championship meet. On the women's side, the Mocs finished 5th in the meet with 315 points over the 4 days of competition. The men finished in 3rd with a total of 548 points and won 7 medals as a team.
In lacrosse news, both teams had a tough weekend as they suffered losses on the road. The women dropped their contest against the University of Indianapolis by a final of 15-14 in a double overtime game. The team will make their home debut tomorrow against the defending national champion, Adelphi, at 7 o'clock. The men fell to 1-1 in the season, suffering a 10-12 loss at Belmont Abbey. The team starts a 4-game homestand this Saturday against Tampa.
Andreas Cabezas was named SSC Player of the Week for men's tennis after defeating the 30th ranked individual in the nation, Juan Cabrera, from West Florida in singles competition. The women's tennis team fell 0-3 and is scheduled to play Tampa on the road right now at 3 o'clock. As spring athletes begin their seasons, their training regimen often needs to be adjusted. Our own Lexi Potter caught up with strength and conditioning coach Zack Wallace to talk about what the Mocs are up to in the weight room.
As spring sports transition from the off-season to in-season workouts, what is the biggest thing that changes as far as their training and the weight room is concerned?
I think once we start transitioning, we get into the preseason part, we want to go from really force development into more power development. So we're working with a little bit faster with the way we're moving. And another thing we want to do is start getting away from sport-specific movements, such as rotation in golf and baseball and softball. We want to start moving into more stabilization because they're going to do more of that as the season progresses.
Most athletes now competing in regular season games. What is the biggest priority to help keep everyone game ready?
I think as long as we're keeping our force development at a high level and also doing our best to help on the side of injury prevention. The anti-rotation stuff I just mentioned is really big, but also just to make sure that we're powerful athletes throughout our entire season, not peaking too early, and definitely not fading away towards the end of the season.
All right, thanks, Coach, and keep up the good work.
Thanks for that, Lexi.
In golf news, both teams competed on Monday and Tuesday as the men took part in the Newberry Invitational while the women hosted the Lady Mock Classic. Recaps are available on fscmocks.com. Also, the track team is back in action this weekend as both teams will compete in the UT Track Classic while esports competes against North Georgia. That's all from us this week on the Snakebite. I'm George Connolly.
And I'm Kenzie Council. We'll see you next week at 3.